What's up, guys? My name is Cottage. Today we're back with more Brickadia, and today I wanted to go through the Logic Gates intro by Sliced. It's basically a world that looks at all the different types of logic gates and things we can do with it. And the reason why is I've been working on some gears in Brickadia, and long story short, the hitboxes are fun to play with. So I've been dealing with gears and trying to make different gear meshes that would work and ways to transfer power for reasons. But in the meantime, I thought it would be important to look at logic gates because there's a lot of stuff you can do in Brickadia, especially like even right now, if we take out the applicator, like look, there's invisible blocks going on here and invisible wires. And like, this is a spawn point. No, this is a teleport destination. And yeah, so like, you know, when I hit this button to go to beginner, for example, it teleports us over here based on that wire. So again, there's a lot of stuff we could do, and I gotta just learn more about the logic gates. So I wanted to just go through this. Obviously, a lot of it's gonna be really basic, and then there's gonna be some really advanced stuff. But it gives us a good chance to actually look at some of the Brickadia specific things and really understand that, and then, you know, back to doing piston development. Yeah, making gears. I've been working on gears, limited success. More on that in another episode, but yeah, I'd love to know how to make good gears. Click all the buttons and follow all the arrows. Sure, no problem. Pressing. Okay, that's cool. I also need to figure out how to do this. Like, I don't know how. I don't think. How does it enabled animated switch, light switch, prompt custom label? Oh, okay, so you can just include that in the switch. That's cool. Yeah, doing custom. That's cool. Anyway, all right. What are wires? Yeah, no, I know that. I don't need to... Oh, this is... Yeah, see, this is pretty. I like the fact that you can use nodes to organize them. Yeah, I know what wires are. That's fine. How do I use wires? Yeah, no, that's okay. Logic gates intro. Okay, here we go. This is the important stuff. Logic gates. This is some really, really basic stuff. I mean, obviously, we know, you know, a NOT gate, right? It's the opposite, right? An OR gate, or an AND gate, sorry, is both of them. An OR gate is one or the other, and an XOR, of course, is one or the other, but not both, right? You know, good stuff. Exclusive OR, NOT gate, yeah, AND gate, OR gate. XOR gate, no problem. Buffer gate, we did that before. So the buffer gate, again, that's what we use to delay the signal to create those NOR loops, because that's required. Multiplication gates, that's always perfect. Remainder, modulo, useful, don't really know why. I can't remember why I've used, when have I used it before? I feel like I've used it for something, and I don't know what I've used it for, but again, we've used all these blocks before in various logic things in Scrap Mechanic. This is cool. Oh, okay, now I understand it. All right, okay, that makes sense. So because these two are attached to this bearing, they're on the same brick grid. So remember when we went to save our vehicle in like the last episode, and it only saved part of it? It didn't save all the children. It only saved the parent entity, and that's because it's on the same brick grid. So this is literally just reading the physical brick grid that each of these are. Oh, that makes total sense. And I don't know, okay, so the brick grid and the button are not the same grid, even if I press them. Input splitter, enter the seat. Yep, input splitter. Oh my god, really? Are you serious? You could literally make, like a whole, I mean, you could actually use guns in this game as first person and just play it, but then you could also make like Doom or something, like an old school shooter game. That's so funny. And that's literally just using an input splitter and then multiplication blocks feeding into... This is so... What is in this? I have no idea what kind of block this is. It's like an item spawn block, I guess. Respawn time. And I guess if you just... if you just feed it inputs, the item spawner... Man, I'm gonna have to play around with that. That's ridiculous. Hold on, I can just copy this block, right? Copied one brick. Right, but like, is that literally just a brick? It seems like that's literally just a brick, and then I just add components. Item spawn? Wow, that's really all you do. Huh. And then it just has a gun on it. Okay, and then what? And then I can hook up the inputs into this gun thing? Like, I love how I'm still sitting in the seat to make this work. Oh my god, there's so much stuff. What? Why are there so many? Okay, well, that's how this works then, I guess. What the heck? There's so many items. Allow pickup, allow rotation. This is just into a standard block? It's not even a logic block. That's just a block. Like, that's literally just a random, you just place the block down, you go applicator, and you go, oh yeah, I can just turn this into an interactable, apparently. And then you can do, oh my good, and then I can go test, and then I can return, and then I can, and then, yeah. Oh my. Okay, this game has like so much depth of stuff that I don't even, okay, I don't know what add velocity does. How do I, oh, I did end up picking up that gun, that's cool. Oh my god, that's sweet. So every time I shoot this, I go up. That's great. That is great. Is that simply because this thing has add velocity to entity? 300. So I can go like 3,000. Right? And then if I shoot this now. Cool. Oh man, there's so much, like, it's pretty cool. We can teleport entities, we can spawn stuff. I mean, there's so many things we can do. That's just great. Add location. So what does that do? Oh, I see. Does it just... Oh, it literally just offsets me by some number. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's cool. There's some cool blocks. All right, let's go into the intermediate stuff, which I'm assuming is, oh, there's more basic stuff over here. Hold on. Servo motors and sliders. I've used these a little bit before. You know, you turn on a servo, that's cool. Turn on a slider. I don't know why it's being fed through a multiplication block first. I don't know why that matters. Is that being fed? It's probably, what input is that going into? The servo slider, yeah, no, it's just under enabled, but that's connected into target. Oh, okay, so it's feeding at a target position rather than feeding it to enabled. That's interesting. And then this one's just fed to enabled. Yeah, and then this is cool. You can like use the slider to control. Yeah, we're gonna have to make something that's got like a really interactive cockpit with all these switches and stuff, and then you can actually adjust them while you're sitting in your seat. That's pretty cool. So we can read the position. I'm assuming this is reading damp. Oh, wait, what? It's reading, no, yeah, reading the current position. Current position feeds out on that wire. And then that goes to the multiplication block, and that feeds it into the bearing. I still don't know how to access a bearing when it's buried like this by a block. I'm not sure if there is a way. If there is, let me know in the comments down below, because that one's never been explained, and it's really annoying to have to, you know, I don't want to have to, like, for example, if I want to connect this up, I don't want to have to delete the block, you know what I mean? But I can't get at the bearing, right? So anyway, let me know if there's a way to do that. Or if I just have to make the block invisible, maybe, and then access it, and then put the block back. I don't know. Servo targets. Servos can detect whether they have reached their target position with at target. Okay. I don't... Enabled. Target angle. At target on. Okay. Alright, and then custom cars. Make robots or cars with the input splitter, which of course is just taking that one block that then, it's basically a WASD breeder, you know? We can take the inputs of A and D, or one axis, and W and S are the other, right? So you can kind of feed it. I don't know what that third, what's that third slot for? What comes out of that? Press jump. Oh, okay, gotcha. So you can have jump be something else. That's cool. We can literally make an entire game with that. This is insane how much detail there is in this tutorial, by the way. So now we're on to the intermediate logic stuff. Yeah, and let's just jump into this right away. What is an edge, right? So when a number changes, it can go up or down. A rising edge is when the number goes up, a falling edge is when the number goes down. True to false, falling 1 to 0, false to true, rising 0 to 1. These flash very briefly. Yeah, okay. Makes sense. So it's reading basically the fact that when right now the input on these is a 0. When I press this, it goes very quickly from a 0 to a 1, so it inputs out at the upper edge, right? And then when I go back, it goes from a 1 to a 0 very quickly, so it inputs the lower edge. It's kind of like it's like a state change detector. I don't really know what I would need this for, but we would build these all the time in Scrap Mechanic, just using like a NOT gate and an AND gate next to each other, and basically generate tick pulses. Sort of the same deal. A NOT gate with an AND gate does the exact same thing, actually. Because every time you feed both those gates, the AND gate would blip, right? So when when your NOT gate is off, and it would do the same thing. It would blip on both edges. It wouldn't blip on two different outputs, though. It would blip the same output regardless of which way you were going. But anyway, long story short, don't know what I'd need that for, but cool that they exist. Oh, here we go. Why use an edge? This is great. It's like an entire, you know, explanation of all the logic in Brickadia. It's a really wonderful, wonderful thing. Yeah, they emit a 1-tick pulse, exactly. So we made tick generators in Scrap Mechanic using this all the time. Single gate updates for gates to remember and update values. Yeah, you can use it to make memory, basically, which is what... Because you can toggle... Oh, that's such a smarter memory loop than what I did, because I was doing the NOR stuff. This is a self-wired exclusive OR gate. So it just takes a tick and generates the... Oh, that's so good! It's so good! It's so good! Love that. That's actually amazing. That's, yeah, that's logical. That's self-wired exclusive OR. That's great. A toggle... Oh, it's a counter. Yeah, every time I click this, it counts +1, right? Would be my guess, because every time you're going in here, it would... Oh, and then I'm back to 0, right? So if I press this, probably be 1. Yeah, and I press it again, it's 2. Press it again, it's 3. And then it resets back to 0. I don't know how it does the reset thing, but that's pretty cool. It is using a modulo, though. So... Oh, I see. Okay, and it's dividing by... Gotcha. It's got a 4. So once it gets to 4, it's gonna... Yeah, it's gonna just divide it out by 4. So this is still counting up. This is going, like, up to whatever. But it's dividing it by 4 every time, and then that's only giving us the remainder output to this. That's really cool. Really, really cool stuff. Timers and cooldowns. Okay, that's... Yeah, this is... Send a blip. It detects the blip. It emits the... Wait, what? What's the timer pulse set to? Buffer in seconds. So it emits a timer for 1 second when it's activated. And then it feeds back. Huh. That's so cool. All right, well, you know, I'm gonna forget all this stuff, but I'm gonna learn how to do... This is insane. It's really, really cool stuff. Under the hood, a Boolean edge detector can be created using the following gates. Yeah, well, this is... Okay. I don't know, like, this seems... I don't know why I need... Again, a lot of this seems like very specific application stuff, and like I said before, we've built all this stuff in one way or another in Scrap Mechanic for different reasons, just without specifically calling it out. And I don't know off the top of my head why I'll use any of these. I probably will at some point in time, but this is like, it's a Boolean edge detector, like, I get it, but it seems like a lot... Like, I would... This is detecting edges in both directions, right? But yeah, this is like not an exclusive OR. I would just do this with an exclusive OR and an and feed it to both. I don't know if that would even work, but it might. But that's what I would do. An exclusive OR and an you feed the switch to both, and then you feed the exclusive OR into the then feed it out. And then theoretically, there's only 1 tick where the 2 of them are active. If that doesn't work, you put a buffer gate in the middle, and then it creates the 1 tick, and then it just goes 1 tick, and then... Yeah, anyway. Doesn't really matter. There's like a million ways to do the same thing with logic, which is super cool. Obviously, some are going to be faster than others with less gates. Anyway, moving on. Adding inputs. By multiplying the rising edge and adding the components, you can create circuits that receive different values from many buttons. Oh boy, this is cool. So 1, 2, and 4. So if I hit 1, that's 1, and this adds probably 4 more. Yeah, that's really cool. So every time you send a tick, it sends a single pulse through the multiplication. The multiplier has your constant into it, b, which is 2. So you're just multiplying 1 tick by this for 1 second, like 1 blip of a second, and then it just adds the 2 numbers together, and then adds it into this number, which then goes to this adder, which then has a buffer on it, which is for 1 tick. The 0 tick's -1, yeah, okay. And then that goes to the remainder, and it feeds the remainder out, and the remainder is going to be divided by probably, what, the full 16, which will be the length of... This is actually really, really cool. This is really... It's simple, but it's super efficient. I really like this. All right, we're on to blend gates. There's a lot of stuff, by the way, to go through. It's kind of insane. But anyway, here we go. Blend gate. A blend gate is something doing linear... Jesus. Oh, God. Yeah, I feel like I'm back at, school again. And it's great. And just learning about stuff. When blend is less than 0, output equals A. When blend is greater than 1, output equals B. Otherwise, A times 1 minus blend plus B times blend. What the... Why? All right, using the blend gate, here are a few things you can do with the blend gates. Clamping values. So on the one side, I wish I could display without having to go in the applicator and see what numbers. So it's a 0.1, and we've got a -0.1. Okay, so one's gonna go up, one's gonna go down. They're just gonna get added together, and they're coming out with a single tick, right? Because if I hold this, it doesn't matter if I hold it or not. Okay, and then that goes into this adder, which again is just adding the 2 numbers together. That's what goes the 1 tick pulse, which is 0 ticks to wait. It's just, I don't know, yeah, whatever, 1 tick pulse. Then that goes into the blend. Okay, which just has a 0, a 1. So it's blending between 0 and 1, and then blend alpha is the third input? Blend alpha. And then that feeds out to these two linear manipulator math, two more blenders, which are 0, 4. Okay. So basically what happens here is when we press this one, the gun tilts down, and if we tap this one, the gun tilts up, right? See that on the right? Oh, okay, this makes a lot more sense now. This makes a lot more, oh, okay, I see what's happening. Right. Okay, yeah, okay. 90, positive 90, it's a servo. That makes total sense. So this one, our input is gonna be 0.1 because we're feeding it a 0.1 here, or a negative 0.1. Those get added together, so they're gonna be 0.1 coming into here. That's gonna get fed into here as a 0.1. It's gonna do the math, and it's gonna say 0 to 1, and then it's gonna do this math, so it's gonna be a times 1 minus, so a times 0.9, so 0 times 0.9 is gonna be 0, plus b times 0.1, right, okay, or it'll be b times negative 0.1. So it's gonna be 0.1 times 1, which is gonna feed into here, and then that's gonna feed into these, and it's either gonna go negative 0.1 times 4, or positive 0.1 times 90. Okay, this kind of makes sense to me. It's a little bit confusing, but I understand what it's doing. Whoever made this is much more intelligent than I am. I feel very amateur. I have 4,000 hours in scrap mechanics, so I don't feel very amateur there. I have less than that here, and there's a lot more stuff here, which is great. It's kind of like that overwhelmed by options, you know? So I'm just trying to understand what I can actually use all this for, and good lord, you can grab a frog with an analog dial. Oh, it's this one. Yeah, no, that's great. So basically, blend is our best friend for just making, it's kind of like a controller, but better. It lets us do interpolation between 2 points and just naturally smooth. Like, you're basically taking this value and then you're smoothly interpolating it between, I'm assuming we're dividing this by the total length of the slider, and then that way we're getting a value between 0 and 1, and then we're feeding that into the alpha of this blend, and then this blend is going to be set between the 2 angles that we want, right? Am I figuring this out now? Yeah, but the 2 angles that we want, and then we're feeding it a value between the length of the slider, 3, yeah, divided by, yeah, no, okay. This makes total sense now, how you can use blends. This is actually crazy. Like, insane what you can do with all this. Priority switching. What the? Oh my god. So if you have one switch on, and then you turn on a different switch, it'll override. No. Oh, okay, so the switch priority is from left to right. So if I turn on this switch, right, but then I go to this switch. Okay, well that's just ridiculous. Slow fade? What? Bruh, are you serious? Is it because the timer, as the timer counts up? Wait, no, the timer's only got 1 tick. How, what, it just 0.03? So it just, come on. Really? That's so cool? I don't understand. Okay, I'm very stupid. Memory, data, okay, yeah, data and write. Wait, so you can, wait, hold on a minute. You can feed data to a memory block and then write it, and then turn it off, and then, come on now. Can I store a number with that? Or is it just storing a state? Because right now I'm just storing a bit. Right, I'd be storing a 1 or a 0 coming out here. This is a math blend of nothing. Number A, number B. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to like memorize this formula over and over again. When blend is less than 0, output A. When blend is greater than 1, output B. Otherwise, A times 1 minus blend plus B times blend. So A, B, blend. So the blend is 0, which means it's output A. And then when the blend is 1, it's output B. So this does nothing. So the blend is 0, so it's output A, which is 0. And then if I press this, output B is going to get fed out the blend, which is then going to get delayed and fed into A. So then as soon as I let go of B, A becomes the dominant one and stays in the blend state. And then when I flip this off, it doesn't matter. Oh, that's so brilliant. That could, I think that would, I don't know if that works for a number. Anyway, that's really cool. All right, cool stuff. And then set reset. Again, using this for memory, which is crazy. But see, this to me seems silly because the fastest way to make memory from what I've seen so far is just the 2 gates where you have an XOR and a buffer and you self-wire the XOR. And the buffer allows you to self-wire the XOR. It was over on one of those other pages over there. But yeah, that seems to be the fastest way to make memory because it's 2 gates. This requires a 3rd gate here. But this is, I guess, a 2-button system, a set reset, whereas an XOR memory is a single button where it's just like, you know, you press it and it resets, you press it and it resets, right? So I guess you could do that. But I was doing NOR memory, which was 4 gates. This is 3, obviously better, but, you know, then we could do 2, which is even better. All right, well, you know, I gotta start using that a lot. There's a lot of reasons to do that. I need some crazy logic projects to work on. You could build, like, anything you want in this game in terms of logic. Like, you could really make a full-out computer. Mechanical stuff I'm struggling with a little bit more due to some of the hitboxes and stuff, playing around with gears and things. But I think there's other ways to do things that are a little bit more, let's say, creative, and I just haven't gotten there yet. But anyway, rerouters and, yeah, rerouters, tricks, and tech. You can paste bricks with wires on top of existing bricks. The wires attach. This is really just like fine motor controls on how to build stuff. Not really important. I'm mainly concerned with learning how to make the gates work. But yeah, I'll come back and look at this because I definitely need better building skills rather than pasting everything manually. Memory circuits. Yeah, so this is what I think the fastest circuit would be. Right? Just an XOR. Oh, it's still 3 gates. That's right, because you still need an edge detector. But yeah, a self-wired XOR, right? That's pretty quick. Just an on-off memory bit. Lets you toggle stuff. Pretty easy. And then what is this? This is a counter to subtract with modulus. Oh my god. Yeah, so we can just keep adding. And it's just basically dividing. So we're actually still going up and up and up. Like, we're like, probably like, I don't know how many counts. 16, 17, 18, whatever. But then this modulus basically keeps dividing it by base 4. And so because it does that, you know, we always end up back with just the remainder. Yeah, see, it divides it by 4. So we always just end up with the remainder outputting here. You're never actually clearing the counter. So it would keep going up and up and up and up and up in value. And then here we'd keep going down and down and down in value. And eventually we get to negative. So that's cool. All right. Well, apparently RAM. Yep. I'm not really going to get into all that right now. Select an address and data and then press save data. Data located at the read address will automatically be output. It's ridiculous. I'm not, I'm not gonna dive into all this just yet, but it's using blends for memory, so I definitely can store values in the blends, which is super cool. And using that memory loop in the blend, I can store a value and then output it. I'm gonna, like, blend is basically your best friend, is what I'm learning here, because I can store any value in it, and then I can interpolate that, and then basically we're writing the value with this line here. So we're using the 0-1 blend thing, and then you loop it back with this buffer to itself, and then this is literally your entire memory for all the value you want. And each one of these blends can store a single value in it. That's great. Like, that's super, super cool. Anyway, this is a world I'm definitely going to be coming back to a lot to reference, because holy cow, yeah, this is insane, the amount of stuff. Physics circuits. Reading values from sliders can be used for building read-only memory. Gravity and torque make a difference. Pretend this is music? What? Oh my god. So, what? I don't... I mean, that's cool, but I don't understand what, It just... Okay. It just plays, like, as the sliders hit stuff. Oh. Okay, well, I guess if you... Yeah, then that makes sense. Holy cow. Okay. Okay, we need to calm down. I see what's happening. Wow. It's actually reading the position of each slider as it moves to each memory position, and that's what determines... Holy... So you could make the whole thing... See, this, to me... is cooler than that kind of memory. I understand that kind of memory is going to be way more efficient and way, you know, way quicker, and it's gonna behave a lot better, and you're gonna be able to duplicate that RAM circuit and make it a million times over, and I totally get that. But this is so much cooler to me. Physical memory, I mean, I understand this is like ancient. This feels like punch card tech, you know? There was a technology, by the way, I don't know if you guys remember this or not. Some people might not. Depending on your age, this will be one of those that tells you how old you are. Punch cards, so computers back in the day, you had to write a program by punching holes into a card and then feeding the cards into the computer one at a time, and the computer would read the cards one at a time. And if you got your cards in the wrong order, your program would not run. I never did punch card programming, but yeah, it was a thing, and it was cool, and there were stacks of cards that did really nothing. They would feed, they were very, very basic programs, good time. This feels like that, and I love it. At target, sometimes you need to wait for things to stop moving before running more logic. Oh my goodness. This is ridiculous. Create responsive elevators by waiting for it to arrive. Holy cow. So red is the bottom. If I go yellow, it'll go there and wait. And then if I go to... Oh my goodness. This is really, really cool. So when I hit one of these buttons, like when I hit the yellow button, for example, I'm sending a pulse with an edge, and that's sending the number, which I'm assuming is the position of the floor. 10 versus 20 versus 25. Yeah, okay. So that's the position along the slider it needs to go to. And then all I'm doing is reading, what, the slider position coming out, probably? And checking if the slider position, target position comes out at target. So I'm checking at target into the blend. And what target am I feeding it? Target position, okay, and I'm feeding it the target position I want it to go to out of this blend. So I'm using the memory of the blend to input and save a target position, and then that target position, man, the blend memory circuit is insane. The power of that to store any number you want and then just keep it there, and then output that number constantly, and then swap that to a new number at any point in time, that is insane. Like, that's game changing right there. That circuit alone is just so powerful. And then, yeah, so we're outputting the target position we want this to, and then we're telling the slider to move to that position. This is so cool. Like, it's so cool. I feel like I'm such an idiot. Like, I feel so stupid right now, you have no idea. Like, all this stuff is just wicked, wicked cool. And it's just so simple and efficient. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna be building some stuff. All right, well, we have advanced stuff to go into, which talks about bitwise data encoding and computers and stuff. I'm not really gonna get into that because, yeah, like, I mean, it's just, so this is actually just talking about, like, yeah, how to make a computer. The game teach you how to make a computer. If you're too lazy to play that game, the section summarizes some of its steps. Good luck. You need to make addressable memory. Yeah, you need to make. Yeah, you need to store your program somewhere. You need to make, yeah, this is in, yeah, okay, great. Guys, do you want to make computers? Do you want to build a computer? Binary, okay. This is what I do need to learn, though, is how to build a display. At some point in time, I will do this and build, is it lights? Is that how this is working? It is light panels. So you have to build it out of light panels and then activate them. That's cool. I'll build a display at some point, but, yeah, no, draw yours. Oh my good lord. Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not crying. You're crying. Look at, oh my. Oh boy. Yeah, no, I know what binary is. We're gonna have fun with this. Oh yeah. No, that's great. That's great. Bit masking, holy cow. Did you guys ever think that Brickadia was a simple game? It's not. The amount of stuff we can do is insane. And there's some crazy physical stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna get into a lot more logic-based things. I love the logic in this game. I gotta go learn a bit about how to copy and paste on the logic. But yeah, I'm also working on some physical stuff as well. Mainly trying to get gears working for various reasons. And we're going to use some drive shafts. But we also need some logic and stuff. Like, now I want to go back and apply some of this logic stuff to some of the motors I did. And for example, we could have a piston motor where we have a slider to ramp the power up and down. And we can just control that slider, have an on-off switch that's like a key. you know, lots of cool stuff we could do to make this way, way better. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm definitely going to be back in this world a lot to reference different things. Gonna have to redo this copy paste stuff because I want to, you know, really get faster, especially when we're doing big circuits. Gonna be using those blends all the time. Like storing number values in blends is gonna be insane. I'm gonna be using that pretty much everywhere. And I think what I'm gonna do is set up like piston engines that have blends so that we can control power level and stuff with like a slider and really just have, you know, everything just set kind of much, much better. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you hit those buttons. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and we'll see y'all next time.